6:15 local time. The Strait of Hormuz. Darkness has not yet surrendered to the sun. The air over the world's most dangerous waterway is thick, not just with humidity, but with the invisible weight of a confrontation that could rewrite history within the next 7 minutes. On the radar scopes of the USS Gerald R. Ford Strike Group, 8 contacts appear simultaneously. No transponders. No flight plans. No hesitation. They are Iranian Air Force F-14 Tomcats, domestically upgraded, missile-loaded, and screaming southward at over 900 knots on a bearing that points directly at the heart of the American fleet. Behind them, barely 40 miles back, 2 IRGC fast attack boat swarms have lit their engines and begun racing toward the shipping lanes. And somewhere beneath the black water, a Fateh-class Iranian submarine has gone silent. This is not a patrol. This is a coordinated, multi-domain kill attempt. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from tonight? Because what you're about to witness is the closest the world has come to a great power war in the Persian Gulf in a generation. 3 weeks ago, the United States, Israel, and the United Kingdom completed a joint strike package that destroyed Iran's primary uranium enrichment centrifuge halls at Fordow. The retaliation, Tehran promised, would come at a time and place of our choosing. The Revolutionary Guard commanders gave no warning, no hotline call, no diplomatic channel. They chose the Strait of Hormuz, the throat of the global economy. 30% of the world's seaborne oil. If this waterway closes, even for 48 hours, fuel prices in Europe triple by morning. Iran has chosen its battlefield with cold, calculated precision. And tonight, the United States Carrier Strike Group, accompanied by HMS Queen Elizabeth and the French nuclear attack submarine Suffren, operating in coalition under NATO Article 5 contingency protocols, stands directly in the kill box. 6:17. The Iron Dome of the Sea activates. Aboard the Ford, the N/Spy 6V1 radar, the most advanced maritime surveillance system ever deployed, is not merely tracking the inbound aircraft. It is anatomizing them. Altitude, velocity vector, fuel state, weapons base status, pilot biometric irregularity detected through microwave return variants. The E-2D Hawkeye circling at 28,000 feet is feeding a continuous God's eye data stream to every ship, every aircraft, every weapons system in the coalition net. The Royal Navy destroyer HMS Dragon has already trained its Sea Viper missiles on the closest contact. The French Suffren, somewhere in the dark water below, is silent, watching, ready. The Iranian F-14s are attempting to jam. Their ALQ-27 electronic warfare pods are flooding the spectrum with noise. Did that work? No. It did not. The N/SLQ-32 V7 on board the Ford chews through the jamming frequencies in under 4 seconds, fingerprints each aircraft's radar emission like a unique voice print, and begins feeding countermeasures so precise the Iranian pilots' heads-up displays are showing ghost contacts, American aircraft that do not exist, in positions that make no tactical sense. The wolves are hunting shadows. And the real teeth are already in the air. 6:19, the launch. No drama. No Hollywood countdown. Alert aircraft, Cat 1. Now. 2F divided by a -18F Super Hornets from Strike Fighter Squadron 213, the Black Lions, are hurled off the bow catapults within 9 seconds of each other. 0 to 170 miles per hour in 1.8 seconds. The deck shudders. Steam screams. 2 pilots, breathing pure oxygen at 25 psi, are slammed back into their seats with the force of a car crash. Every single person watching this right now, have you ever imagined what that feels like? For seconds ago you were sitting still. Now you're supersonic over the Persian Gulf with 8 hostile aircraft on your nose and a submarine somewhere beneath you. Drop a fire in the comments if your heart just rate spiked reading that. The Black Lions climb hard. No stealth needed tonight. Their presence itself is a message. They climb to 22,000 feet and establish a combat air patrol directly ahead of the strike group. Their AIM-120D AMRAAM missiles, range exceeding 100 miles, go active immediately. The Iranian F-14s are well within their engagement envelope. They know it. The Iranians know it too. 622. The knife edge. At 14 nautical miles, the lead Iranian F-14 does something unexpected. It fires its own radar, the N/AWG-9 variant, the same system the Shah's Air Force once used, now rebuilt by Iranian engineers, into a hard targeting lock on the Ford's Island superstructure. A fire control lock. Not a search sweep. Not a warning. A weapons-grade targeting emission. Inside the Combat Direction Center aboard the Ford, the tactical action officer, call sign Stonewall, doesn't flinch. But every person in that room just aged 5 years and 2 seconds. The 3-second rule. It exists because the law of armed conflict requires it. 3 sustained seconds of fire control radar lock constitutes an act of engagement, under American rules of engagement in a declared hostile environment. The TO's hand moves to the Aegis authorization panel. 1. On the flight deck, the phalanx CIWS mounts complete their autonomous slew. Each one tracking. Each one ready to fire 4,500 rounds per minute of tungsten penetrators. 2. Aboard HMS Queen Elizabeth, British pilots are already at stations in their F-35Bs. The coalition is aligned. One order from the Ford and this becomes a full-spectrum engagement. 2.7. The Iranian F-14's radar lock breaks. Not because someone ordered it. Because the pilot, 46 miles out, looking at a display showing him bracketed by targeting solutions from 3 different ships and 2 airborne platforms simultaneously, made the only sane decision available to a living human being. He flinched. 624. The swarm. But Iran had a second card. 12 IRGC fast attack vessels, PACAP class, explode from behind a cluster of commercial tankers they had been using as cover. Classic asymmetric doctrine. Classic Revolutionary Guard. They fan out at 55 knots, attempting to bracket the strike group from the surface. In Washington 3 years ago, military planners wargamed exactly this scenario. The answer was the MH-60R Seahawk helicopter, armed with AGM-114 Hellfire missiles, operating in coordinated wolf packs of its own. 4 Seahawks are airborne within 90 seconds. They descend to 50 feet above the wave tops, below radar horizon, below line of sight, and begin hunting. The IRGC commanders apparently did not know the Ford was carrying the upgraded Romeo variant with maritime surface search radar that can track a speedboat's wake in 3-foot chop from 6 miles. They do now. The lead fast attack boat receives a single Hellfire at the waterline. It does not explode dramatically. It simply stops existing as a functional vessel in approximately 1.3 seconds. The other 11 boats break, hard, confused, abandoning formation, and begin retreating toward Iranian territorial waters at maximum throttle. Coalition forces did not fire a second shot. They didn't need to. 628. The submarine problem. This is where the story gets quieter. And in naval warfare, quiet is terrifying. The Fateh-class submarine, IRGC naval designation, equipped with Iranian-built wake-homing torpedoes, had been holding position for 6 hours. Patient. Waiting. A submerged ambush predator. What it did not account for was the Suffren. The French nuclear attack submarine had been on station, silent, for 31 hours. It had tracked the Fateh for the last 4 of those hours. When the surface engagement began and the Iranian submarine began its attack approach, moving from holding depth to launch depth, bringing its torpedo tubes to bear, the Suffren was already positioned. It is not publicly confirmed what happened next. What is known, the Fateh abruptly reversed course, went to maximum depth, and sprinted toward shallow coastal water at a speed that registered as emergency on coalition sonar nets. No shots were fired. No torpedoes ran. The Suffren sent one active sonar ping, a single, undeniable declaration of presence. The message was received. Tell me something. Did you even know France had a nuclear submarine operating in the Gulf? Because most people don't. The coalition runs deeper than the headlines. If this surprises you, hit subscribe. Because this is the level of operational detail we bring every single time. 631. The diplomacy of steel. As the Iranian aircraft break off and turn northeast, back toward Bandar Abbas, and the fast attack boats scatter, and the submarine runs, something remarkable happens aboard the Gerald R. Ford. Nothing. No celebration. No announcement over the ship's intercom. The tactical action officer marks the log. Threat package neutralized. No ordnance expended. Resuming task group transit. The Air Wing maintenance crews begin cycling the returned Super Hornets through turnaround. Someone in the wardroom makes coffee. 5,000 sailors on a floating city, 90 seconds from the edge of a regional war, returning to routine with the practiced calm of professionals who understand exactly what just didn't happen. Because here is what the world needs to understand about Operation Iron Shroud. The most dangerous moment wasn't the radar lock at 6:22. It wasn't the swarm boats. It wasn't the submarine approach. The most dangerous moment was the split second when a young Iranian F-14 pilot, probably 28 years old, probably someone's son, probably briefed that this mission would make him a hero, had to choose between following his orders all the way to their conclusion, or surviving. He chose to survive. And because of that choice, you are reading this right now instead of watching emergency crude oil market coverage. 6:45. Aftermath. By 7 a.m. local time, the Strait of Hormuz had returned to what passes for normal. Commercial traffic resumed. Tankers carrying Saudi crude, Qatari LNG, UAE petroleum products, the lifeblood of the global economy, moved through the choke point under the watchful eyes of a coalition that had just demonstrated, without firing a single combat round, that the cost of escalation was simply too high. The Iranian state media reported a successful deterrence patrol. The Pentagon said nothing publicly for 18 hours, then released a 4-line statement confirming routine freedom of navigation operations. That is the nature of superpower conflict in 2025. The battles that matter most are the ones that don't make the morning news. The ones that are won in the electromagnetic spectrum, in the sonar shadows of deep water, in the 3-second intervals where someone chooses not to pull a trigger. Iran is not a negligible military power. The F-14AM upgrades are real. The submarine force is expanding. The fast attack doctrine has been honed over 40 years of asymmetric warfare study. Anyone who dismisses Iranian military capability as trivial has not been paying attention. But capability is not the same as outcome. The coalition that stood in the Strait of Hormuz that morning represented something Iran, and every other regional power, has to calculate against, not just American firepower, but British stealth aviation, French submarine warfare expertise, and an integrated command architecture that shared targeting data faster than any single nation's military can operate alone. That is what deterrence looks like in the 21st century. Not a bigger bomb. A better network. And at the throat of the dragon, on a morning when history held its breath, the network held. Now I want to hear from you. Drop your answer in the comments. Was American and coalition restraint tonight a sign of strategic brilliance? Or is it giving Iran space to push further next time? This debate matters. Your voice matters. Let's build this conversation together. The sun rose fully over Hormuz at 7:12. The oil kept flowing. The world kept turning. For now. If you want the unfiltered operational truth about what's happening at the world's most dangerous flashpoints, subscribe and hit the bell. Next time, we go inside the Israeli F-35I strikes on Iranian ballistic missile infrastructure, and the Iranian retaliation plan that's already on the table. This is not speculation. This is what's coming.